Welcome to another show. I'm Sid, and today I'm going to be showing you this hand tracking effect for Facebook filters. It's not for Instagram at the moment, but keep track of this video, maybe save it to your like playlists or whatever, and come back. If it ever updates to Instagram, I'll make a new video and there'll be a link for that in the description. Or just subscribe so that you'll always be notified when I upload new videos. That'd be great too. So basically what we got here is hand tracking effect. I've added in a 3D shape, in this case a sphere. And what I've got on top of that is this image that I found, this 360-degree image, which I found on Google. You can just look over here. I searched 360 photos free, and that's what came up. And I'm also using this baseball texture, which I got from the Spark AR website. I'll link to that in the description below as well, so you can have all the textures that I'm using. There's a diffuse texture and a normal texture for the baseball. So basically what that is you have the normal texture here, which is like the baseball colors and the typical stitching and things like that. And then you have this normal texture, which is 3D mapping. So it's like a bump effect. So it kind of determines, the computer uses these colors and this effect to, and this layer of the texture to determine, the roughness and how ingrained or like, you know what I mean? Like there are bumps coming out and there are bumps going in, indents. That's what it's determining, that's what it's figuring out. So as you can see, if I tap to change this, which this effect also has, then you can see there's some slight indent and you can see the stitching effect is more realistic. I'll show you it without after and I'll explain in a little more detail. But anyway, let's pause this and I'll create a new project and we can get started. Okay, so let's minimize this. I'll switch back over to the camera and cool, here I am. First thing we're going to do in this new project is edit properties. And we're going to come under here and we're going to uncheck Instagram. We have to do this, otherwise we don't have access to the hand tracking effect. So we do that and we'll hit OK. As I said before, if this is an Instagram effect that you're after, there might be a link in the description. There may be a new video, so keep track of that. Hit the like button, all that good stuff. So now we have our face tracking enabled, hand tracking enabled. We can come under add object and add a hand tracker. So now that's in our scene. So it says here, instructions automatically come up when you add a hand tracker that says hold up a hand. Right now we can do that, nothing happens, but the instructions do disappear. So it registers that you've raised your hand and the instructions disappear, which is good. It's a good indicator that it's working. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is open up our patch editor, just so that we have it here ready. We're going to hit add asset, and I'm going to import from library. For the purpose of this, obviously we're using a sphere, because that's what I had before, so we come to 3D objects, 3D shapes, and these are Spark AR's provided 3D objects that you can use in any of your projects. We can use a sphere here, or we can have a high-res sphere. They have a whole bunch of other things too. There's an eyeball, so maybe you could track this same things to an eyeball. I don't know if, depends, you can have a baseball eye in 3D. I don't know if that would be interesting to you, but it's an option. But yeah, we're just going to use a regular sphere for this, so I'll import those. Untitled, that's the new project that we've got. Okay, so now we have a sphere. We can drag that inside of our scene to our hand tracker. Okay, and now that we have our sphere in place, we can hold up our hand and you'll see that we now have a sphere just tracking into our hand. It doesn't really do anything right now. If you move your hand in and out, it kind of shrinks in and out, but I think that's more detecting the size of the hand and just scaling accordingly. So it's kind of scaling based on the size of your hand a little bit, but I'm not quite sure. Or maybe it's just moving closer to the palm. Maybe it's more closely tracking the palm. But anyway, we have that now working, ready to go. So we can add some textures. We'll import the three that we have. As I said, there'll be links in the description for all of those. So if you're after the baseball one, that's coming from Spark AR. And if you're after the, I'll show you what it is. It's like an Aurora Borealis type setup. I think that might be exactly what it is. Yeah, that's just from Google. So you can search around. There's probably some stock images and things that you can use for this. And there's all kinds of different things and effects that you can create with these 360-degree images. I'm hoping to make a few more videos in the future about that. But yeah, for now we have our sphere. We're going to rename that 360 photos, and we'll come under here under this drop-down menu, and we'll rename this 360 photos as well. And now we have our material for that, which we can also rename 360 photos. No, we can't because it's currently physically based, so we have to come over here to standard and change that to standard, and now it'll drop out of this sphere specifically and it'll become its own material texture, which we can rename 360 photos. Nice. Now we're going to add a second one. We're going to drag a second sphere in here, and that's going to be for our baseball, so we'll rename that baseball. Do the exact same thing again, baseball and we'll add a new texture material, baseball. Lovely. So we have all of those now. We have our texture set up. So if we click and hold up here, you see right now it's the standard shader type, so it's back to what it would normally be if it was a mask or a mesh. But we don't have tap to change features yet, so let's add that. We'll do screen tap connected to a counter. So this is pretty simple stuff, so it's not too complicated. So we've got screen tap connected to a counter. From here we'll come out to an equals exactly. Sorry, I'm doing this with the window open because it's quite hot. There's going to be some traffic going by. I hope that's okay. We're going to have two options for now, so we're going to duplicate that. We'll have 2, 0, and 1. Because it's a total count of 2, we're going to change this maximum count here to 2 as well. So now we're going to come up here to 360 photos and baseball, the nested, not the nested versions, the parent versions, and we're going to hit visible to create patches in here for the baseball and our 360 degree photographs. We haven't assigned the textures yet though, so that's what we're going to do next. Come under here, and we've already imported them, they're all down here. So if we come under the textures panel, we can add in our 360 degree photograph texture, which as you can see right now is a little bit all over the place. It looks maybe like it's upside down, we'll fix that in a second. And we also have our baseball one. So if we come under baseball, this is where you can add your diffuse texture just like normal. And then if you want to look it up and figure out how to make a normal texture, which you could probably do with Blender or something else, because it's typically for bump maps and things, for making terrain and video games and modeling and 3D stuff like that, for shade, especially for shaders. But yeah, if you want to look those up, that's probably something that you could get into. I'm hoping to get into that myself a little bit. But yeah, you can add your normal texture here, and if we click to tap to change now, we simulate touch, come up here, you see we can switch between the two now. I'll even show you without. So we remove it, it goes right in. Maybe I can even scale it up. So we have our baseball here, I'll scale that up real quick, just so that you can see it a little bit better when I hold up my hand. So there's our big baseball. If I come down here to the texture now, I'll show you it with the normal, without the normal, and then with the normal. And you can see those little shadows and things where it's slightly indented, and it's giving it more depth and character, as if it's a real baseball in my hand. But obviously that's optional, and it depends what kind of texture you're going for. With the 360 one, we don't need that. We just have the general 360 here. I don't need to scale that up right now because I'm going to show you some other interactions that we can do as well. So the next thing we're going to do is add a loop animation. So we'll do that down here, and I'm going to copy it twice, and I'll show you why in a minute. And after we've got both of those ready to go, we're going to connect them to transitions. So we'll have two transitions here, one from each. Line those up nicely, and they're coming from the progress to a transition. So loop animation from this progress to a transition. It's left at vector 3. You can adjust it for color, number, any variant of vectors that you're going to be using. But for this, we're going to be using XYZ, so just regular vector 3. And we're going to come here and highlight both the nested versions of our 360 photos and baseball, just those. So you can command click to do that on a Mac. I don't know what the shortcut is for Windows. And we're going to add our scale and also our rotation. So now we have all of those patches inside of our patch editor. I should probably make this a little bit bigger now. We have some more space. Make this smaller. Okay, so we have our baseball, our rotation. So there's our 2 for rotation. Put those up there. And there's our 2 for scale. Put those there, get them all lined up. So for now, we have set our scale manually. But now we're going to do that like this. So we're going to hook this up, and we're going to hook this up. I'm going to make it so that both of them are the same scale. You can obviously separate this out even further if you want to make different things, different sizes. There are a lot of things you could do with like hand tracking. I'm just giving you the basic techniques and some simple things that I hope you will expand upon and do cool things. Okay, so we'll connect this up now to our scale, 3D scale, 3D scale. So it doesn't matter which one you're connecting right now, they're both identical. We'll change that in a second. We have our loop animation here. We'll set the duration to 15 seconds. We'll do 7.5 seconds, and we'll have it mirrored so it grows in and out, in and out. And then we'll set the start size to 1, because that's what we want as a default, 1. Yep, just regular old 1. And then we'll increase this maybe to just 2 for now. So now if I hold up my hand, you can see that this one is increasing in size, and when it hits a certain point it will decrease in size. So that's pretty cool. And if I tap to change, it does it switches the texture, but it's doing the same thing. It will shrink all the way down and then it will start growing back again. So that's nice. Next I'm going to show you how to rotate them. So we're going to do connect these ones up. We have our rotation here, so we're going to connect those up the same way to this other loop animation that we've got. This one's going to have a 15-second duration because we're just going to be going around the y-axis, so nothing needs to change on the z-axis. We can set that to 0, and we need to figure out which direction is up so we can keep it there, and then we'll figure out how to spin it around. So this one is 15 seconds. It's not going to be mirrored, so it's going to go from 0 to 360 degrees all the way around. So if I hold up, oh, that's not true, I meant that on this one. So it's going to go from 0 to 360 degrees on the y-axis. So as you can see, it's spinning all the way around, and because it's not mirrored, it's 15 seconds duration. It'll go the whole duration of the story, and then just continue. And it's the same with the other texture as well. So our z-axis is set to 0, y-axis is starting at 0, going to 360 degrees. Okay, so now that we've got it rotating 360 degrees, but as you can see on this image, it's upside down still. So we're going to adjust that. It depends on the orientation of your image that you import, but for whatever reason, mapping onto this, my image has appeared upside down on the sphere. The snow is on the bottom, so I'm going to have to reorient that. So in order to do that, I'm going to figure out where the top and bottom is, right at 180 degrees. I've already checked it. So about 180 degrees, but as you can see, it currently ends, and it's also changed the end to 180 degrees. So if I do that, I've just rotated the whole thing, the image and the sphere itself, over on itself 180 degrees. So now my image is growing and it looks beautiful. You can see the aurora borealis in the icy winter. I don't know where it is, Greenland, Norway, Sweden. I'm very bad at geography, but it looks nice. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole effect. I've shown you how to do hand tracking, the basic effect for Facebook. Also to add a tap to change. So we've added a sphere and then textured it, and we've got tap to change features. So that's pretty cool. We've also got the looping animation of scaling in and out, so things get bigger and smaller, and rotating 180 degrees or 360 degrees. Like a cool snow globe effect would have, or a dancing ballerina perhaps. But anyway, this is the entire tutorial. Sorry I haven't been making as many as I said I would. I'm trying to get back on track with filming and stuff, and I'm enjoying live stream as well, so come check me out if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.